morning, President Trump touching.
All right, Trump in Asia. That's time. It's time for Trump in Asia. We got to do that. Because he's out there. He is out there trying to salvage what remains of the discarded trade negotiations that his deal-making administration put together. Okay? He's going to return from Asia with $20 quintillion in deals and IOUs. You already know what it is. Okay?
Down in Tokyo for the second stop of his week-long trip across Asia, announcing a breakthrough in trade talks with China ahead of his high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi.
I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
The president warned an additional 100% tariff on Chinese imports would go into effect in just a matter of days on November 1st, blasting China for new restrictions on critical minerals. Experts say would raise the costs on everything from electronics to clothes. It's just the latest twist in the president's on and off again global trade war. Just as he announced progress with China, he abruptly ended all trade negotiations with Canada, accusing the country of running, quote, fraudulent ads that use President Ronald Reagan's own words to criticize tariffs.
But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker.
Loki, you can use Ronald Reagan for a lot of the shit that the Trump administration is doing as a direct counter. Like, not even a joke. It's pretty wild. The evolution of the Republican Party has been pretty crazy. Like, directionally speaking, they're obviously still headed in the right-wing direction. It's just that, like, broader attitudes have shifted.
And consumed.
The president now says he will impose an additional 10% tariff on Canadian imports, refusing to meet with Prime Minister Mark Carney, even as they both attend the same summit in South Korea this week.
I'm not going to be meeting with them for a while, no. I'm very happy with the deal we have right now.
He's mad. They're ruining my big, beautiful deals. I'm not going to be meeting with that Mark Carney. That I call him Marx Carney, like Karl Marx.
We're going to let it ride.
So the president would not say when those additional tariffs would go into effect. He did tell.
It's ironic because the Ontario Conservative government launched this ad, not the federal Liberals law. I mean, yeah, but who cares? From his perspective, he just feels betrayed by Canada. Any Canadian that said something about me is worthy of scrutiny for the entire country. How dare you? I will annex you, Marx.
Reporters, though, that he would like to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un while here in Asia, although he did not necessarily say when that would happen, that he'd be open to extending his trip. So far, nothing is planned, Robin.
We'll see what happens there, Rachel. Thank you.
The president's Asia trip took him to Japan today. He is meeting with the country's emperor. Also,
yeah, he met with the emperor and he touched the emperor's back, which was interesting. But then again, in line with what America has done to the Japanese emperor since World War II. So
on this 5-day trip, a high-stakes meeting with China's Xi Jinping talk about everything from trade to TikTok. Nancy Cordes is with the president in Tokyo and has got the latest on the story. Nancy, good morning. What can you tell us?
Good morning, Gail. Well, I can tell you that the president just landed here in Tokyo a couple of hours ago, the second stop on his 3-country swing through Asia. And the big news here in Asia is the apparent breakthrough over the weekend in U.S.-China trade talks after 6 months of tension.
President Trump's first stop here in Tokyo was the Imperial Palace, where he was greeted by the emperor.
Little guy. Big position by such a little man.
Trump got a welcome fit for royalty in Kuala Lumpur, too, and even joined in as Malaysian dancers performed for him on the tarmac.
What the fuck? Yo, I did not. What is that, dude? What the? I didn't see this one. I was following the Asia trip closely, and I missed this. That's so stupid.
And
oh, God, he's so fucking old. He brought out the double dick suck for the Malaysian dancers.
Malaysian dancers performed for him on the tarmac.
How long did this go for?
In Malaysia, the president did one of the things.
Where is Ian? Bring me Ian. That's my strongest warrior, Ian Miles Chung. I'm bringing him back with me so we can finally see Portland. After I save Portland from the ashes that remain as a consequence of socialist, communist, fascist mobilization in Portland that the military is stamping out. Where's my big, beautiful Ian Miles Wrong? They call him. I call him Ian Miles Strong. That's his name. Believe it.
He likes best signed deals,
Well, this is so exciting.
including a new peace agreement between Cambodia and Thailand that Trump helped to broker.
I wish you'd smile.
But there is one deal the entire world is watching for, a trade deal between the two largest economies, the United States and China.
I think we're going to have a good deal with China, and they want to make a deal, and we want to make a deal.
President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping have been trading threats for months. China stopped buying U.S. soybeans and vowed to block sales of rare earth minerals that are crucial to high-tech manufacturing. Trump, in turn, vowed to impose an additional 100% tariff on Chinese imports starting next month.
I believe that is effectively off the table.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said there was a breakthrough just this weekend in talks with his Chinese counterpart, and he said both sides walked back those damaging threats.
The soybean farmers are going to be extremely happy with this deal for this year and for the coming years.
Yeah, I don't think they can be happy with this year's deal, considering that's just not how agriculture works. Like, I don't think they can magically restructure the crops that they have to burn, basically, that was supposed to go to China. Like, what are they supposed to do? Is kind of over for this year, don't you think? I guess they are, they got 0 orders, but I'm sure Trump will sign off on a fat check to make sure that the farmers are happy, you know? Yeah, they're going to get bailed out for at least this season, where they sold nothing. Shouts out to Donald Trump. Doesn't sound like Schumer is ready to fold on CR. He says Trump is dancing on the tarmac in Malaysia ahead of a health insurance cliff. Donald Trump may be having a nice time abroad, but people here at home are dreading open enrollment. Who do you think you are? That's Scott Bessant, Master Farmer. Oh my God, I saw that. Yeah, in the longer clip, Scott Bessant claims that he too is a soybean farmer. Does anyone have that clip? It's so stupid. He's like, well, you don't understand. I too am suffering from the soybean collapse because I too am what you would call a soybean farmer. Yeah, Besson on American farmers being hurt by tariffs. Martha, in case you don't know it, I'm actually a soybean farmer, so I felt the pain
term,
too.
I know they have met before. The president has also said he does want our farmers to be taken care of. You did mention that China has been boycotting American soybeans, and American farmers have really suffered. Do you see a real light at the end of the tunnel there? They may allow soybeans again?
Well, Martha, in case you don't know it, I'm actually a soybean farmer, so I have felt this pain too. And there are a couple of things happening here. One, the Chinese have substantially dropped their purchases to almost 0, so they unfortunately have been using American farmers who are amongst President Trump's biggest supporters. I think he had more than 90%.
I'm what you would call a soybean farmer myself. You know. I'm just as much as a soybean farmer as Scott Besson is. He claims to be a soybean farmer because he owns farmland that he rents out to the soybean farmers. I am a soybean farmer myself because I like Chinese food and therefore eat a lot of soybeans and also use soy sauce. So I guess we're all technically, to a certain degree, associated with the the agricultural production of soy. you know, many of us, who amongst us?
Support. And then this was one of the biggest crops in 20 or 30 years, so it was a perfect storm. But I think we have addressed the farmers' concerns, and I'm not going to get ahead of the president, but I believe when the announcement of the deal with China is made public that our soybean...
My landlord is a photo editor. Yeah, that's how it works. If your landlord is renting to you, then they, by transitive property, take over your job in the workforce.
Farmers will feel very good about what's going on. Both
I'm sure you can relate to the farmers with your $500 million net worth. And yeah, here it is. Confronted with this fact by host Martha Raddatz. On ABC's This Week, Trump Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, a former hedge fund manager who boasts a net worth of more than $500 million and who rents $25 million in farmland out to soybean farmers, tried to paint himself as a common farmer who understands the American farmer's pain. It's funny because we've moved beyond kulaks at this point, right? Because farmers, by and large, like in the way that we actually look at farmers, like they are also business owners, right? The farmer coalition is not the farm hands, the actual agricultural workers, but instead those who own the business that hire the workers to do the job, right? Some farms are owned and operated by the families and whatnot, but for the most part, farmers themselves are also owners, right? Owners of business, capital owners. And that's the reason why they vote alongside the reactionary line, no matter what that same reactionary administration will end up doing to their bottom line, right? Having said that, Scott Bessent has taken this to its maximalist position by being the fucking farm landowner that the other farmers who are also business owners rent from. Fucking awesome. It's double capitalism. Yeah, and of course, what's really funny is we literally did the same thing last Trump term. China must be laughing at how stupid we are to repeat the exact same mistake verbatim. Yeah, it's hilarious because China already did this last time Trump tried to do the exact same thing. So the farmers actually experienced this once, and then they still turned around and voted for Donald Trump, which is hilarious. And then they did it again, and they're like, oh my God, how could this have happened? How could this have happened again? It's like, I don't know, man. He said he was going to do it. Why were you not listening? Oh, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Bessent says that Trump and Xi might finalize that deal when they sit down in South Korea later this week. And Bessent said he also got Chinese sign-off on a deal to transfer the U.S. operations of TikTok to new owners, so China doesn't have as much access to Americans.
Trump refuses to rule out third term. Says, I have the best poll numbers. Nice.
To be able to run and potentially win a third term in 2028. Is that something you'd be willing to challenge the court to be?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. We have some very good people, as you know. But I have the best poll numbers I've ever had. I mean, I just solved 8 wars and a 9th is coming. I believe Russia, Ukraine will happen.
You said that for 2028, they're very good people.
Well, we have great people. Well, I don't have to get into that, but we have one of them standing right here. We have JD, obviously. The vice president is great. I think Marco's great. I think, I'm not sure if anybody would run against us. I think if they ever formed a group, it would be unstoppable. I really do. I believe that. I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? I mean, you'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't.
I don't think this shit's sweet, man. I don't like when he fucking jokes like that. I don't like it at all. I've seen what this joke leads to. Okay? That's crazy. It's just, I got great numbers. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe I'll run again. Oopsie. It's just, I don't think he's joking when he says that. And I think that a lot of liberals are afraid, like a lot of liberals in positions of power, politicians in general, are afraid of saying that this is not a joke because they don't want to come across as like silly if it doesn't happen. But they should be working towards Trump doing this. Okay? They should be trying to set up ways in which they cripple the administration moving in this direction, even if they're not outwardly stating that Donald Trump absolutely is trying to secure a third term or just permanently remain in power.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive.
I have noticed he always hits women of color with the low IQ line, always. And then it's laughable because he follows it up by saying how high his IQ is because he took a fucking dementia test, dude. Brother, I can draw a clock. I can draw the clock so perfectly well. I can draw it. I draw it all the time. Can they draw a clock? Can AOC draw a clock? I don't think so. I'm so high IQ. She is so low IQ.
Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, you know. When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25.
I can't believe he's, once again, he is talking about a basic competency test. He is talking about a fucking dementia test, man. If you are claiming that your basic competency test that you aced is a difficult test to quote unquote win, that's not giving me a lot of confidence about your brain processing power, you know? Come on, women, cameraman, TV, giraffe, elephant. I know all the animals. I know all the animals. I know them so well. I can call them out. Everyone says, Mr. President, you're so smart. You're so smart. Yeah, this is it. This is the test Trump took. It's a 10-minute screening for dementia. Isn't that fucking crazy? Yeah, it's literally draw a clock. Yeah, I saw this. I retweeted it. Hello, Mr. President. Out of curiosity, those doctors asked you to draw a clock by any chance? Was that part hard for you too? Asking for 340 million people. I also like that he got this wrong. A tiger, elephant, and a giraffe. Like, I'm sure it was actually a tiger and an elephant and a giraffe in the test that he took. But in my headcanon, he calls the lion a tiger and the rhinoceros a fucking elephant. And the camel a giraffe. That's right. Look at that giraffe. They have long necks. You know what it is. I'm sure there's a different version. Those animals are fixing the test. He's actually wrong. No, there's no way. Dude, come on. Come on, be for real. I think the president, I think Donald Trump, or most people, unless they are totally brain broken by dementia, can fucking spot the difference between a camel and a giraffe, man. Please stop it. Stop it. Your delusion is showing. Grok, is this test standardized? The MoCA is a standardized test screening tool with fixed elements, including confrontation, naming 3 specific animal images: camel, lion, and rhinoceros. Trump scored perfectly 30-30, so he correctly identified those. The tiger, elephant, and giraffe he cited seem to be examples of a verbal fluency task, often animal category and naming cognitive exams, where responses aren't prescribed, but scored on quantity and uniqueness within time limits, allowing personal variation. Okay, I'm gonna believe that. I'm gonna believe that he actually got it wrong. In my head canon, okay, fuck it, we ball. This is literally like a child. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. The first couple questions are easy: a tiger, an elephant, a giraffe. When you get to about 5 or 6, then you get to about 10, 20, 25. They couldn't come close to answering any of those questions. I can't. The test is woke and biased towards people from MENA. It's woke. Oh my God. Hasan, do you do crypto? No, I do not. It's so nutty.
They couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
They couldn't come close.
Walter Reed mentioned it.
They asked me what the date is. Who knows? Who knows what the date is? Question 20. That's right. Who knows? Nobody knows what the date is at any given moment, believe me.
Advanced medical imaging. Did you get an MRI? Can you tell us what
I
that
did.
was?
I got an MRI. It was perfect. Yeah.
Can you tell
I
us
mean,
what
I
it
gave
was?
you the full results. We had an MRI, and in the machine, the whole thing, and it was perfect. Yeah.
Can you say what in particular they were?
You could ask the doctors.
The doctors, I asked, and they said it was a perfect MRI. What do you mean? What's a perfect MRI, man?
In fact, we have doctors traveling with us, but I think they gave you a very conclusive. Nobody has ever given you reports like I gave you. And if I didn't think it was going to be good, either I would let you know negatively, I wouldn't run, I'd do something. But the doctor said some of the best reports for the age, some of the best reports they've ever seen.
One theory on how you might try to serve a third term is that you could run as the vice president.
Yeah, I'd be allowed to do that.
Is it the White House, or the White House counsels, or your legal position?
No, you'd be allowed to do that, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. I think it's too cute. Yeah, I would rule that out because it's too cute. I think the people wouldn't like that. It's too cute. It's not. It wouldn't be right.
We're going to begin this hour with something a lot of people are talking.
Oh my God. He's not disabled mentally. He's just stupid. I think it's a little bit of both. Why not both, chatter? I'm of the mindset that it might be both. Okay. All right. So that was the MRI. I got the perfect test scores saga right there. Speaking of which, I covered this already, but it bears repeating. Like in terms of Donald Trump's ambitions for continuing for a third term, Steve Bannon basically gave the game away here in this conversation on The Economist.
Trump 28. Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28.
There's a plan.
Yeah. Sammy Gold says, and he's right, the only thing stopping Trump from running for a third term is whether he wants to or not, or whether he's even alive. Nothing else matters. Yes. And of course, people who are professionally wrong, Dylan Esper, who is like mind broken by Israel so fucking hard that they're also saying that this is neurotic. I'm starting to admire the Republicans' operation here. They know Trump isn't getting a third term, but they also know they can induce panic among neurotic liberals who refuse to use their brains. Defining leak down, this was a paper handed out to reporters at CPAC this year, urging them to cover an unofficial event on the sidelines. Exclusive, a leaked CPAC press memo shows the third term project hosting a February 20th event titled The Case for Presidential Tenure Reform. They're openly arguing for a constitutional amendment to let Trump serve up to 3 terms, citing unfinished business and continuity. This isn't subtle anymore. It's a blueprint for permanent power. This is from before. That's not correct. You're missing the point. Let me know when you want to talk to someone. Pay close attention to their verbiage surrounding this. This should clue you into the broader picture. Wait, what? No, I'm saying that the ways, first of all, I'm saying that the ambition they have there is real, okay, as opposed to what people are saying could potentially happen. And I also personally think that like what Steve Bannon is mentioning here, what they are going to do is instead of like a constitutional amendment, I think that they are going to say, just like Steve Bannon did, that the Constitution is supposed to vaguely protect the interests of the masses. And they're going to try and turn this into a referendum on whether or not he should serve a third term. And they're going to do it like they did before, where in the past, if you recall, they were able to block Supreme Court appointments. They were like, well, let the people decide on who gets to pick the next Supreme Court justice. This is the end of the 8-year term here. This is ridiculous, right? Like, it's a similar thing that they're going to try and do, which is, once again, let the people decide. And of course, I don't believe that the voting at that point will reflect what you understand voting to look like, whether it be with the vote watchers that he wants to place in the state of California and in other blue states, which will obviously actively depress turnout and try to strike fear. I think it's a multiple front agenda where I think that martial law also factors into this to a certain degree, whether by way of a hot war with Venezuela or the entire Latin American continent, the entire South American continent, or whether it be internal strife that escalates to some kind of, whether it be internal strife that escalates into some kind of martial law initiative. There's a definite chance he tries to run for re-election, but I don't think Bannon knows anything at all. He likes to exaggerate what he knows. No, I agree. Bannon likes to self-aggrandize and really beef up his importance. He'll talk to any media figure that presents him as a significant factor in the administration. He greatly overemphasizes his role here, for sure. Having said that, I do believe that there is ambition in the Trump administration to do this. Whether it'll be Steve Bannon and his strategies that play this role, or whether it be the Heritage Foundation and other institutionally important think tanks on the Republican side that play this role, it doesn't matter. But I'm sure there's a legion of lawyers that are actively trying to present this argument, this alternative right now in the whichever way they can. He likes to exaggerate what he knows and how involved the admin he is. He's been doing it since he was fired from Trump 1. Anything he says should be treated with a bucket of salt. Sure, but the main indication that he might run for a third term is because Steve Bannon keeps talking about it? No, that's not where this comes from. I mean, even this leaked CPAC memo is a good example of this, that it's not just Steve Bannon. Even if this is the Republicans doing it on their own, fake leaking to the media, to stir up trouble and chaos and controversy. Oh, no, I meant the opposite. Trump said it himself. Oh, yes, exactly. Trump himself is saying it, yes. Yes, that is a major point. Even down to like the 2028 merchandise. Like they're doing it and they're testing the waters. Your mind is not this liberal brain broken. They're not going to use procedural tomfoolery that uses 12D chess moves. They're going to do something big, stupid, and blunt, then challenge anyone to stop them via courts or Congress. I'm saying that there is nothing more big and blunt than martial law due to internal strife caused by deployment of the military to blue cities, or martial law of some sort due to war, hot war with Venezuela. That's the biggest thing you can do. In any case, speaking of which, even if there is an election at all, California's Governor Gavin Newsom has signaled his interest in the 2028 White House bid. Let's take a look.
Talking about besides